What is up to everybody hopping in the chat? I just appeared. I just Auramaxed and showed up in front of everybody. What is up to everybody hopping in the stream, man? Shout out to everybody if you're here. Absolutely love you guys. Is Diggs a start this week? Oh, he possibly could be. Is my boy Marks? Yes, he is, bro. Shout out to everybody hopping in the stream. If you're just not hopping in, hit that like button. Let my boss know I'm doing a good job. Either way, we got a good one coming our way on Thursday night. The past few Thursdays have been pretty mid. I'm not gonna lie. But when it comes to fantasy football for this week, we do have some good ones. The Bills and the Tennessee Titans, guys. This is going to be possibly one of my favorite Thursday night games. Now, Davis Mills. I don't know if we have any Davis Mills fans in the chat, guys. If you do, go crazy, bro. I have not met a Davis Mills fan. This guy knows ball 100%. Shout out to Shay in the Chizzy chat. Pick one. We're going Woody, Chubb. Oh, man. We are never going Chubb. Hunt or Carter. Yeah, I would take Woody, bro. I would take Woody. The thing is, the Bills defense have allowed, I believe, the second. I know they're top 5 for sure. Most fantasy points to opposing running backs so far this year. It is absolutely insane the amount of upside that this Bills defense is allowing. Also, they're very, very susceptible to fantasy points to the wide receivers as well, chat. Make sure to comment all your starts and questions. We're going to be answering as many as we can. Bills versus Texans. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Bills versus Texans. Absolutely love it. Spam your starts and questions. If it's a Thursday night one, definitely let me know in the comment. Am I starting Woody? Oh, I'm starting Woody, bro. And this is not a bias either. I'm starting Woody Marks. I know last week was an absolute disappointment. The Tennessee Titans last week was supposed to be a beautiful matchup, and it was. It was. But Woody Marks did absolutely nothing with it, and everybody was worried. He did not have a ton of snaps either, which is actually pretty insane. But this week, I do believe is going to be different. The Bills matchup is insanely positive. We know that to be true. But Woody Marks this week, the only issue with him is that he doesn't get a ton of receiving upside. And Davis Mills, if we look at his starts so far this year, Davis Mills is targeting running backs and slot wide receivers at a way lower rate than CJ Stroud was. So it's going to be a little bit negative in that aspect for him. But it means that Nico Collins, even Jaden Higgins, could be an interesting start this week. I do also like Christian Kirk, but he is the slot wide receiver, of course, so it does make it a little bit tougher for him. But I do like what we're seeing. And I don't want to call Christian Kirk a start. So I'm going to go ahead and call my boy Jaden Higgins a start. Somebody said, what do we think about Stephon Diggs? I mean, anybody in the Patriots offense right now is just absolutely insane. There's not much we really have to worry about. This is what we got for Woody Marks, though, chat. This is what we got for Woody Marks. Everybody in the comments, spam your start sits. We're answering as many as possible. But as you can see, Sean Tucker is another guy that everybody is loving right now, and he might be getting a little bit too much love. I'm not going to lie. Are we going with Dak, Dart, or Joey Brissett? You know, I've actually seen this question maybe 600 times so far this week, and it is a very tough question because you look at Dak Prescott, kind of a negative matchup. Jackson Dart doesn't have that much better. Jacoby Brissett has been averaging over 20 fantasy points per game since becoming the starter over Kyler Murray. And the thing is, it's another really positive matchup against the Jaguars. They have been a better defense total as of late. The run defense is really, really good. I would not really trust Dak against the Philadelphia Eagles this week. So my answer to you would probably be Dart if he's fully good to go. Now, the Lions defense is very good as well, but he does have the rushing upside. I think Dak's going to be your safest option, though, if you wanted to go for that. But if you're going upside, I would go Jackson Dart. Josh Allen touchdown, rushing touchdown, I think that's perfectly fine. I would be okay doing that. And that's not coming from somebody that has Josh Allen rostered on his fantasy team either. Do I start Michael Wilson or Devontae Smith? Yeah, this is insane. I mean, it's not even crazy to say that. We don't have Marvin Harrison again this week, and Michael Wilson just saw 18 targets. It was insane. Like, Jacoby Brissett threw 57 passes. So, yes, 18 targets is a little bit inflated, but the target share was still really insane. I would go Devontae Smith this week. The Dallas Cowboys defense are allowing the third most fantasy points to wide receivers. It's not great. It's still ugly because of this offense for the Eagles. Michael Wilson is a pure upside play. I do love starting him this week. Don't get me wrong, but if it wasn't for this matchup for the Cowboys, I would say otherwise. Is Emeka playing this week? That is a great question. Tonight, the answer is no. Emeka is not playing tonight. But this week, that is a conversation to be had. I don't know at the moment. I think he will I need some help. We're going Ferguson or Schultz. Yeah, I would not be going Schultz in this matchup. The Bills are allowing the number one least fantasy points per game to opposing tight ends, which is, I mean, obviously the most negative you can get. But again, Davis Mills has been targeting his outside wide receivers at a higher rate than those check down slot kind of guys, which is technically tight ends. So I would not be going with Dalton Schultz given those two things in this matchup. Why so much James Cook hype this week? I don't know. I have not really been seeing that. It's not that positive of a matchup. Like the Houston Texans defense is pretty good. I guess it's just the touchdowns people are expecting, which is definitely possible. Tyrone Tracy Jr. or Ramondre this week. Yikes. That's assuming Ramondre plays. I honestly don't think he will. So I'll go Tyrone Tracy on that. Do I start Alec Pierce or Michael Wilson? Yeah, you're going Michael Wilson. The interesting thing about Alec Pierce, though, is that he's the overall wide receiver 2 this year in yards or air yards at 132. That is insane, but his target share is really low. But that's kind of just what happens when you're like a deep downfield kind of wide receiver. It is a really negative matchup, though, against the Chiefs defense. They are a lot more susceptible to fantasy points from the slot than they are the outside wide receivers. So that's better for Michael Pittman than it is Alec Pierce. But yeah, no, you're not taking Alec Pierce over the King Michael Wilson right now. Emmanuel Wilson or Darnell Mooney. Yeah, this is like the injury lineup of doom right here. Um, I want to go Darnell Mooney, but the problem is he really hasn't shown much. Like when he is on field, he is still running a really good amount of routes, and we do have Kirk Cousins back, so maybe that kind of connection between the two is valuable there. But Emmanuel Wilson does get a pretty decent matchup this week. It's just we don't really know entirely what to expect. Like he will be the RB1. The Vikings run defense is very, very good though. So I would probably run the risk of Darnell Mooney if you're in a PPR league, just because there's more upside there. And I do like upside if you know me. Xavier Hutchinson or Christian Kirk. Yeah, I would go Christian Kirk. If you're gonna go one of these outside wide receivers, it'll be Jaden Higgins. Shakir or Jordan Addison. I would take Shakir this week. Jordan Addison is a very boom bust, especially because of JJ McCarthy. That's really the only reason why he is. The Packers defense is pretty decent, all things considered. But when you look at Khalil Shakir in this week's matchup, the Texans are one of the worst defenses in fantasy points allowed to wide receivers, except in the slot, which I don't really know. Like their middle linebackers, I guess, are just not on one, but they allow a lot of fantasy points to the slot. I believe they're top 10, but in outside wide receivers, they're like the second worst. So slot wide receivers are where you beat the Texans. Uh, Probably not going to have Keon Coleman. I think he's already been benched this week. So it's him, Josh Palmer. I do like Khalil Shakir. I think he's going to have a bounce back week. Josh Allen versus Houston or Drake May versus Cincinnati. Yeah, this is an amazing question because you could really go with both and not have a problem. Like they're both top 3 quarterbacks for me this week. I would go with Josh Allen just because of the safety. Like he's always going to get you a ton of points. But let's go with Drake May on this one, man. Like the Cincinnati Bengals matchup's beautiful. You have all your guys pretty much healthy. Drake May is rushing the ball a ton. Take Drake May in it. Take Drake May in it. I mean, it's a way positive matchup there. Very positive matchup. We're going with let's see, Thursday night question. Genty or Marks full PPR? Yeah, I mean, I don't even blame you for asking this question because of what we just witnessed from Ashton Genty last week. Um, I don't really love either. I'd probably lean Ashton Genty though, just because we know there's some kind of pass catching going on with Davis Mills in his healthy starts. He is targeting the wide receivers, the slot wide receivers, and the running backs at an insanely low rate. So I do think there is a worry that Woody Marks just doesn't catch the ball, and the Bills defense, like if they get up really, really quick, they're going to have to be in a pass first script. I do like him in this matchup because the Bills are allowing some of the most fancy points to opposing running backs. But in that situation, I'd probably just take the receptions that I know are going to be there with Ashton Genty. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. If you guys are in this chat, make sure to hit the like button. I will try to remember everybody's profile picture that likes the stream and prioritize your questions here. And it's free, man. It takes 2 seconds. What do I do? I have Shaheed, Trey Tucker, Higgins, or Leggett. Yeah, I'd probably take. Okay, well, we're not going. If that's T. Higgins, we're going T. Higgins, obviously, but I assume it's Jaden Higgins. I wouldn't take Leggett in this matchup. I wouldn't trust Jaden Higgins enough. Shaheed, I think would probably be my answer. I definitely would suggest using the Walter Picks app though. Like you can see on screen, we're comparing Woody Marks with Sean Tucker. You can do this with all those players, and it'll just show you the boom bust percentage of all your guys. If any of you in the chat don't have Walter Picks, you can just download it off the App Store. Link in the description. Search it up if you want to, and then just use code Avery in the app as well. Are we going with Wandale Robinson, Pearsall, or Addison? I would take Wandale Robinson in this one. Pearsall is a sit until he proves really good, especially against the run. The pass is a little bit more susceptible there, though. And I mean, hey, if we're not going to have Darius Slayton back again, it's going to be absolutely insane. So that is what I like to see, chat. Prescott or Daniel Bones Jones? When it comes to quarterbacks, when it comes to Dak Prescott, like the matchup is definitely negative. I think I would probably still go with Dak Prescott in this one, though, simply because of the pass volume that we're expecting. Because Daniel Jones, like the Chiefs defense is not one to mess with. Like I am not I am not okay with that. Are we going with Kenneth Walker or Michael Wilson? This is a great question. I actually do like Kenneth Walker in this week's matchup, given it's the Tennessee Titans. Kenneth Walker has actually been seeing a good majority more of the goal line snaps compared to Zach Charbonnet over the last 3 weeks, which I do like. And if that trend is going to continue against one of the most positive run defenses in the Tennessee Titans, I'll take Kenneth Walker in that one. It is a very tough one, though, because Michael Wilson, again, as the wide receiver one in a pretty decent matchup, it's going to be tough to sit him. Thursday night question, are we starting Mooney over Jaden Higgins? I think Mooney's going to be the safer play. I like Jaden Higgins simply because Davis Mills targets the outside wide receiver, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a lot of usage. But again, the floor is 0 for him. Like it could be an Xavier Hutchinson game. It could be a Jalen Noel game. Jalen Noel has been the more efficient guy with Davis Mills, but again, because he targets the outside. But it's tough, man. It's tough. Do I trade CD for Jamar tonight? For straight up. I mean, the suspension doesn't really matter, especially if we're going to have Joe Burrow coming back, which it looks like we will very, very soon. I'll take Jamar Chase. I'll take Jamar Chase in that. Should I trust the Packers defense? I mean, it depends what your other options are. I'd say they're pretty trustworthy. Like, JJ McCarthy has not been that efficient. Thursday Night Football question, Woody Marks, Judkins, or Kenneth Walker? This one I absolutely hate. I hate this question. I only hate this question because they're all such good running backs. I'm guessing one of them has to be your flex. Again, we love Woody Marks because of this matchup. We love Woody Marks because of this matchup. And again, I was just talking about how I like Kenneth Walker in this one because of his matchup. If we're going on pure upside, though, I think Woody Marks is going to be your number one guy to start this week. I'm banking on the bounce back. And then I would probably take Kenneth Walker. I mean, the matchup is just a lot better. Yeah, I'll probably go with Kenneth Walker and just trust and hope that he continues to get the goal line usage over Zach Charbonnet, which he has been doing over the past month. Let's see. I love the Rams and Jaguars. If we're talking defenses, the Rams and Jaguars, Rams I do like for sure. Jaguars, their defense has been good. Jacoby Brissett did throw a couple interceptions last week, so it's not terrible. We're going with Jacoby or Kayshon Boutte at the flex. I'd probably take Kayshon Boutte. Thursday Night Football, can you pull up Addison and Shakir? I can pull it up. It'll take a minute though, because I just have the screenshots. So I can pull up Addison and Shakir for you. If anybody else wants me to compare some players, let me know. But I will pull up Addison and Shakir, and then I gotta email it to myself, chat, because I don't have the updated tech these days. I'm still in Unk timing, so we gotta go the long way. But I'll definitely get that for you up. Thursday football question: are we going with Shakir? Oh, did I not just answer that? Shakir. No, I didn't just answer that. Boutte or Pearsall. I'd probably take Shakir again. I really do trust the game plan. Like if the Bills are smart, they're going to target the slot wide receiver, which is Khalil Shakir, because that's how you beat the Houston Texans. Like that's where the fantasy value is coming from. So I do like that. I'm also a big Shakir guy, but that doesn't really have anything to do with this matchup. That's just what I like, man. That's what I like. Let's see. Dortch or Mooney? Yeah, see, I would not go with Dortch in this one. Another thing that comes back down to the defenses, the Jaguars are fair, like they're not great in stopping wide receivers. The one thing they can do really good though is restrict fantasy points that go to the wide receivers. So because of that, I really do not think Greg Dortch is a strong start whatsoever. He did see 6 targets last week, but Jacoby Brissett threw 57 passing attempts. So that's what, a 10% target share? That's disgusting. But here we go. Here we get our comparison with Jordan Addison, like you were talking about before. You can see his boom potential is a lot higher. Guys, if you want to check where your players rank in their ceiling, their floor, how many fantasy points the Walter Picks app has projected for them, just download the app, look it up on the App Store. I'm 90% sure it's in the description of this video as well. And just use code Avery when you download. You can get a free trial to some of the things as well if you're a first-time user. And you can use their trade finder and trade analyzer if you haven't already. Any news on Gabe Davis? I don't think there has been, but I mean, Keon Coleman probably will not play if I remember correctly before I booted up this live stream. Nico Collins or T. Higgins? I also have Lamb and Rice. I would start T. Higgins. I like Nico Collins. Again, the Bills defense is very positive, but you're telling me T. Higgins with no Jamar Chase against the Patriots? Like, Christian Gonzalez is a good corner, but this one could be insanity. This one could be insanity, chat. This one could be insanity. Thursday night question, do I start James Cook? If so, whoa, where'd it go? Where'd it go, chat? We just lost the question. Okay. If so, do I sit down? Oh, whoa. Okay, we're not sitting Dowdle. We're not sitting JT. So James Cook over Henderson or Derrick Henry? That is actually a really good. How did you end up with all these running backs? James Cook over Henry, I don't think I would do. Henderson, I would probably do. That's really tough. You're banking on James Cook getting a touchdown, which obviously you would be with a lot of these running backs. And you don't know if Ramondre is coming back this week. I'd probably start him over Henderson because if we do get Ramondre back this week, it'll be pretty negative. Not negative, but like the upside's a lot lower. So I would just take the points that we know we're going to be there. Olave or Schultz, I would definitely go with Olave this week. Again, I'm not loving Schultz this week because Davis Mills targets the tight ends and the slot wide receivers a lot less than he does the outside guys so far in his starts. So I really would not be trusting that. And we don't love starting tight ends at the flex unless we absolutely have to. Should I trade away Josh Allen and Cade Otton? Wait, Josh Allen, Cade Otton, and Judkins for Baker, Kittle, Javonte, and Pearsall. The thing is with that is you're going to be getting Kittle and Pearsall. It is an upgrade at tight end. It's a downgrade at quarterback. It's an upgrade at running back. I think that's fine. If you want to have that much stock in one team, I think it's fine. I wouldn't be mad at that. Definitely put it in the Walter Picks trade analyzer, though, before you send it, just to make sure you're on the winning side of the deal. Again, you can just download Walter Picks. Use my code Avery if you haven't already. You can try all their tools there. Nico or Igbuka. Man, how are you not starting both? This has to be a DFS question of some sort. Nico or Igbuka. If all goes right, it should be Nico Collins. But when does all ever go right? You know what I mean? There's such a wide range of outcomes. I'd probably lean Nico Collins. The Bills matchup is just so positive. And again, what I've been saying all stream, Davis Mills targets the outside wide receivers. I mean, you look at Nico Collins' target share over the past few weeks, it's been insane. He just traded Christian McCaffrey and Diggs for Jamar Chase and Saquon. Yeah, that's beautiful. Beautiful. I think that's fair. Saquon does have one of, if not the best fantasy playoff schedules and rest of season schedules on top of that. So I do think it's valuable. It's just all up to the defense. It's just all up to the defense. Woody Marks, Aaron Jones, or Emmanuel Wilson. Yeah, bro. This is another one of those like starts of questions that makes me toss and turn at night. I would definitely take Emmanuel Wilson in this one. It's a negative matchup, but from what we've seen, like he's a workhorse running back. So then it becomes, are we taking Woody Marks or Aaron Jones? I would go with Woody Marks, man. Again, this matchup super positive. The only issue is that if it gets out of hand too quickly, he's probably not going to get too many targets. So he definitely is the riskier option. If you want a safety blanket, go with Aaron Jones. Texans or Jaguars? If we're talking defense, we're going with the Jaguars defense. Ricky Pearsall or Christian Watson? I'd probably take Christian Watson. Without Josh Jacobs, you'd expect them to use a lot more wide receiver screens and like sweeps. And he does get targeted a lot. Not a lot. He doesn't get targeted a lot. That's cap. He does get a lot of yardage. He's not a volume wide receiver. He doesn't need a lot of targets to be fantasy viable. So I would probably take him until Ricky Pearsall shows us otherwise. Like the same thing happened with George Kittle. He did really bad in his first game back. And then, next game, he was perfectly fine. So that might be this game for Ricky Pearsall. But I don't want him to put up 2 points on our team when we could have done something else. And the Panthers defense is really good at stopping wide receivers. I believe it's either him or Juwan Jennings, who will be on J.C. Horn this week, and he is a very, very good corner. We're going with Judkins or Chase Brown. I would take Chase Brown. Chat, how do you guys feel about Joe Burrow coming back? He's potentially coming back this week. Chat, is that not insane? Coming back this week is absolutely insane, chat. Absolutely insane. I just traded for him in one of my Superflex leagues before I knew he was coming back potentially this week. And my quarterbacks are Justin Herbert, who was on bye, and Justin Fields, who just got benched in a Superflex. So I'm going to need that. Yeah, I'm going to need that for sure. We're going Baker or Dart. I would take Dart. Tet or Woody Marks. I'd take Tet with the amount of success he's been seeing. The 49ers defense is banged up and very bad right now. Let's see here. We're going with Judkins. Oh, rest of season. Yeah, I would take Chase Brown rest of season. My only worry is that Samaje Perine is projected to come back this week, if not next. And we saw when he was healthy, he was actually getting a good amount of usage with Chase Brown. But that was in the whole quarterback situation where the team kind of sucked and it was Jake Browning starting. So maybe that had something to do with it. But Quinshon Judkins does have a really good fantasy playoff schedule as well. Thursday Night Football question or May or Allen. Yeah, I've seen this before. I think it was you that commented earlier. I would take May. Call me crazy, but I would take Drake May. It is a more positive matchup, but again, you can't go wrong either way. Start one, Ramondre, Alvin Kamara, or Metcalf. Oh my goodness. Well, probably not Ramondre in this one. Alvin Kamara has not been doing enough. DK Metcalf, again, I really am not a DK Metcalf believer in fantasy football. I really never was, but the Bears matchup is positive and they won't have Jalen Johnson back. So even if we don't have Aaron Rodgers, I still think he's a fine play, chat. Michael Wilson, Sean Tucker, or Michael Pittman in half PPR or Tracy. That's tough, man. In half PPR, Sean Tucker becomes a lot more valuable. We're assuming we don't have Bucky Irving back this week. Michael Pittman gets a very negative matchup against the Chiefs. I'd probably take Michael Wilson and Sean Tucker in that. It seems like it probably is the most risky lineup, though, but I do like that. Do we start Santos or Fairbairn? I would take Fairbairn if he's healthy. Santos has been projected good every single week, and he's been decent, but it's in real NFL terms, he's missing kicks, and it's you don't want him to miss those kicks, bro. You don't. Are we going with Mills or Bryce in 2 quarterback leagues? Oh, man, that's tough. That's actually a really good question. I personally don't really believe in the Bryce Young legacy game to happen again, but it is a really positive matchup against the 49ers defense, who are allowing some of the most points to opposing quarterbacks this year. So if it's going to be it might be this week again. Davis Mills is way too boomer bust, in my opinion. Again, great matchup, efficient targeting the outside wide receivers, but if he doesn't pass for touchdowns, he's not going to give you any value. So I'd probably take Bryce Young and hope for the best. That's tough, though. I'm in a similar situation in Superflex. Roma Dunze or Michael Wilson? I'd still take Roma Dunze. The Pittsburgh Steelers are allowing the number 1 most fantasy points and yards to opposing wide receivers right now. Let's see. There's a football question. Should I play Houston or Buffalo defense or drop one for something better? It depends what you have on the waiver wire, but I would definitely start the Houston Texans defense over the Bills defense. The Houston Texans defense, I believe, is allowing the number 1, definitely 5th or better amount of yards and points to opposing defenses. They should be able to generate some turnovers. That's really what you're hoping, though. The good news is that fantasy points aren't really generated on like keeping low scoring games. It's definitely possible, but like that's not where you get fantasy value. I'd probably look for one off the waiver wire if you can though, because like they both do carry a lot of risk. Purdy or Burrow? I would probably take Purdy. If Burrow does play this week, it's gonna be insane. I'm starting him because I have no choice, but this is a really decent matchup for Purdy again. I want to see Joe Burrow play a week first. Was this a good trade? Dowdle and Higgins for Derrick Henry. T. Higgins? That's kind of giving up a lot. I would have kept Dowdle and Higgins or James Cook for Derrick Henry. Better playoff schedule. I wouldn't be too worried about that. I wouldn't be too worried about the playoff schedules there. I would probably just keep your guys. I like Dowdle and Higgins way better than I like Derrick Henry. Thursday Night Football question: Cook and Baker for Saquon and Dak. I would take Saquon and Dak. I would take Saquon and Dak. Saquon has been pretty like hit or miss, and the offensive line is a bit injured, but they do have one of the best fantasy playoff schedules, which I do like. If he can just take advantage of it, which is going to be the issue. Ravens on the waivers, I would take the Ravens over all of those options. Definitely take the Ravens over all those options. I mean, their defense has actually been a lot better as of late, and they were one of the worst, so that's saying a lot. And the Jets are not great. Would you go with Mooney, Shakir, or Trey Tucker this week in PPR leagues? I think Shakir is going to give you the safest floor. Mooney's going to give you the highest upside. I suggest trying that question in the Walter Picks app. See what their start sits tool says. I would probably go Shakir, but it is a risky one there because they're both in a pretty similar boat. Let's see. How about playoff picture? For what? Defenses? Defenses with the best playoff schedules? The Saints have a really good playoff schedule. I mean, it's not like the Saints defense are amazing, but their playoff schedule is pretty decent. Patriots defense or Ravens defense? I'd take the Ravens against the Jets this week. I trust it more, especially if we do have Joe Burrow coming back. It could be tough for the Patriots defense here. I like how all we're getting is defense questions. I love defensive questions, guys. I dive deep. I get a lot of data for the defenses. I mean, I am part of the projections team as well for the Walter Picks app. So, I mean, 100% of my brain capacity just goes to fantasy football. It's kind of actually crazy. Just got to trade. I give Jefferson and Bucky for HN and Jennings. Now, I would keep Jefferson and Bucky. You've held Bucky on for this long. Like, you might as well just keep him. You know what I mean? You might as well just keep him. Am I crazy to sit Josh Allen tonight? A little bit. Donald, Bryce, Flacco on waivers. Feel like Allen, a goose egg. Wait, what? That's a crazy take. Like, if that ends up being true, I'd be very surprised. Like, the Texans defense is good, but he does run the ball. I think that take's a little crazy. I think that take is a little crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you. But if it is true, hey, I guess you heard it here first. Somebody said, do my top 10 defenses for this week. So my top 10 defenses for this week, number 1 is going to be the Seattle Seahawks. Great defense. Very, very good at stopping fantasy points to other positions. They also get the Tennessee Titans this week, so like you can't get much worse than that. But the Ravens defense are top 3 for me because they get the New York Jets, who are, I mean, they can't do anything. The Green Bay Packers are a great one against the Minnesota Vikings, again, because J.J. McCarthy's turning the ball over. He's not efficient. The Cleveland Browns against the Raiders. We know Geno Smith is averaging an interception and a half per game. The Las Vegas Raiders are another decent one on the other side of that game because we have Shedeur Sanders starting at quarterback. Who knows what he's going to do? It's probably not a lot. The Detroit Lions against the New York Giants is a good one. And then I would take the Patriots there against the Cincinnati Bengals. But if we do have Joe Burrow healthy, I'd probably move them down a little bit. You can also take the Bears against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I like that as well, especially if we don't have Aaron Rodgers in this matchup. Those would probably be like my top 5 for you. That's on Fairbairn, also Burrow or Jones. I mean, I would take Burrow if he starts, but I mean, we need more information on that as the days come. I think Fairbairn's fine this week. I mean, he's finally healthy again, so we know the Houston Texans aren't going to be scoring. They're going to be getting in the red zone close enough, but they're not going to generate touchdowns off that. It's possible, but I don't believe in it. Are we going Egbuka or James Cook? Yeah, I would take James Cook in this one. But try to start them both, man. I mean, they're both absolutely amazing options. Guys, if you are in the stream and you're enjoying yourself, please hit that like button. We are approaching this tip off for the game. I absolutely appreciate everybody in here. You guys are absolutely insane. Thoughts on Judy? Judy does get one of the best fantasy playoff schedules this year, but again, if he's dealing with Dylan Gabriel, if he's dealing with Shador Sanders, it's disgusting. This week, I don't really want to start anybody in that matchup, if I'm being completely honest with you. I don't want to start anybody in that matchup. I really don't. Should I start Shakir tonight? I think it's safe. I know he didn't do much last week, but I think it's safe. I think it's safe. McPherson. I would probably take McPherson in this one. Do I trade Tyler Warren, Justin Jefferson, and George Pickens for? Who do I trade them for? You want all? Okay. I wouldn't trade Tyler Warren because what are you going to get for him? Like, you can't get much better. It's Brock Bowers and Trey McBride, maybe, but you're going to have to sell your entire team for that. George Pickens and Justin Jefferson. Jefferson still has name value, so you can get a pretty good piece for him. George Pickens, if you combine the two, you can get a top player and then a downgrade somewhere. It really just depends on what you want and what your roster looks like. I suggest trying the Walter Picks app. You can sync your league to the app, and it'll help you make trades and optimize your rosters to make sure you're making the right decisions as well. And if you're a first-time user, you can use code Avery, get a free trial as well. I already have Brock Bowers, though. Okay, that makes more sense. See, that's exactly why. Okay, well, you could find the team that needs a tight end really, really bad, and then look for a wide receiver or running back, whatever they have excess of. If they have like 5 really good running backs, take a running back from them. But Tyler Warren's a top option, so you can get a lot for him. Guys, I appreciate everybody hopping in this stream. We are going to end it because we have to go watch this game, chat. We have to go watch this game. I'm very, very excited for it. As a Josh Allen owner in fantasy football, I'm ready for it. Shout out to everybody in the chat. If you stuck around the whole time, drop some W's. I will see you guys in the next stream and videos coming on this stream very, very soon. I'll ask a couple more questions here. Schultz or Barner at tight end. I'd honestly take Barner here. It's kind of crazy, but I would. Wilson, Egbuka, Nico, or T-Mac sit one. I would probably sit I'll probably sit Buka there. See ya. Shout out to everybody hopping in the stream, man. I'm going against Allen. Oh, wish you luck. I'm wishing you luck. W. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. I appreciate everybody in here. Thank you guys so much for hopping in. I will see you on this channel every single other day. Thank you guys so much. I will see you soon.